The world has been shaken by space quakes ever since the largest one recorded in Eurasia, claiming the lives of 150 million people. Japan was no exception to this, but humans eventually returned to their normal lives despite the constant threat of space quakes. Among those is Shidou Itsuka, who lives with his energetic younger sister, Kotori. One morning, they head to school after hearing news of a minor spacequake, so they both promise to meet at a nearby family restaurant. Upon heading to Raisin High School, Shidou meets his unknown stalker, who's introduced as the class genius Origami Tabichi. Soon, a spacequake alert sounds, prompting everyone to evacuate. However, Shidou discovers that Kotori's GPS location is still at the family restaurant. Afraid for her safety, he goes out to get her, but he gets swept away by a spacequake, rendering much of the buildings around him into rubble. In the middle of the crater, a girl appears who confronts Shidou, asking him if he will try to end her. Before Shidou could answer her, several flying units swoop down, aggressively attacking the mysterious girl using missiles. However, the girl easily nullifies the attacks against her. Then an attacker came down to fight her, but she and Shidou quickly recognize each other, as it is none other than Origami herself. Soon, Origami prepares to battle the girl using an energy sword, but the battle unleashes a powerful shockwave that knocks Shidou out. He then finds himself being monitored by a lady named Rain Murasame. She tells Shidou that he's aboard the Fraxinus, the vessel of the Ratatosker, after losing consciousness. She eventually took him to the bridge, where it's revealed that the captain of the Fraxinus is his sister. Kotori then explains the situation, but Shidou notices that she seems to have a completely different personality. So Kotori reveals that she actually left her phone in the family restaurant. The day after, Rain joins the faculty of Raisin High School and makes quite an impression. Shidou later confronts Rain and Kotori about this, but Rain thinks that it's a great idea for someone from Ratatosker to watch over him. Soon, Kotori asks Rain to give Shidou a look at the training module for him becoming the newest weapon against spirits. As the module finishes loading, he discovers that the training module is about him learning how to make a spirit fall in love with him. Meanwhile, Origami meets up with Shidou and confronts him about their unexpected encounter during the battle with the spirit the day before. Origami tells Shidou to forget about the events that happened between her and the spirit. Regardless, he asks about the spirit and she tells him that she has to deal with them as she was orphaned after a spirit ended her family 5 years ago. After a sleepless night clearing the gouge given to him by Kotori, Shidou heads to school. During the day, he visits the physics room, where he almost enters a sussy scene with Rain. Soon, Kotori arrives and announces that Shidou must try to make his teacher, Tame, to fall in love with him. He clearly struggles in this exercise, as it involves making someone fall in love with him, especially his teacher. Regardless, Kotori urges him to push through. As such, Shidou first tries out complimenting Tame's attire, but Rain advises Shidou into sweet-talking her. Somehow, the plan worked, although Rain underestimates Tame's reaction to getting married to someone of Shidou's age. Fortunately, Shidou manages to get away from her, although he runs right into Origami in the process. Kotori then decides to use her for Shidou's training, and with Rain's guidance, he tries to woo Origami. This time, it worked like a charm, but his embarrassment turns their fake date into a reality. Soon, a spacequake alarm sounds throughout the school, and Kotori tells Shidou to retreat to the Fraxinus. Hours later, Shidou is redeployed to the utterly destroyed school premises due to the spacequake. Kotori then briefs Shidou about his role in dealing with the spirit that he had met before, codenamed Princess. After a short pep talk followed by an introduction, Kotori leaves Shidou to his mission. As such, he's able to get to the spirit. However, the spirit refuses to listen to him. Luckily, the spirit eventually recognizes Shidou as the guy she met before, and Shidou uses this chance. However, Ratatosker decisions only end up provoking the spirit into attacking him. Eventually, he decides to act, and in that instant, the spirit's personality changes and rejects his serious statement. However, she eventually warms up to him, considering him as the first human to have talked to her. Discovering she has no name, the analysis team suggests the name Tom. Unfortunately, she doesn't like the name, so he instead gave her the name Tohka, which seems to approve with a smile. Suddenly, a hail of gunfire rains down on Tohka, which Shidou barely evaded if not for Kotori's swift warning. Tohka advises Shidou to move away from her to avoid getting caught in the crossfire, but Shidou refuses. Tohka then complies to Shidou's request, so the two sit down while ignoring the gunfire from the AST outside thanks to Tohka's barrier. Tohka then reveals that she doesn't know much about herself and why she suddenly appeared on Earth, ending up getting attacked in the process. Meanwhile, Kotori takes this chance to force Shidou to make his move. With Ratatosker ringing in his ears, he decides to go with their plans. Meanwhile, hail of fire from the AST comes to a halt due to a civilian with the spirit. Upon recognizing who this was, Origami swoops in to confront Tohka. Her presence quickly reverts the tohka's mood into pure aggression. As such, Tohka summons her weapon Sandalphon and slashes at the two. Origami manages to survive the encounter with Tohka that night, but was punished for being reckless before being taken to safety. Upon Shidou's return to the ruins of Raisin High School, he starts having second thoughts about what happened. Soon, a familiar voice calls out to him, and Tohka emerges from behind him, expecting Shidou to fulfill what he promised. After following his advice to change into a more accepted set of clothing, he and Tohka head out to their next destination. The two then go into town and eventually end up at a bakery, which instantly catches the attention of Tohka's stomach. As she indulges herself with different kinds of food, she tries to determine what a date is, confused to what Shidou is talking about. He tries to clarify, but Tohka continues to roam the city, much to the sorrow of his wallet. While in the middle of their adventure, Shidou asks why she left after the fight with Origami, where she reveals that she disappeared to another world and fell asleep. She also stated that she wakes up usually by force, causing Shidou to conclude that space quakes are just by accident. After a chance encounter with Tanamachi, Shidou manages to afford to take Tohka to an expensive restaurant. They're very surprised when all the employees are actually undercover Ratatoskr. Kotori then suggests a meal that Tohka single-handedly finishes, then Kotori tells Shidou to head to the nearby bridge. It turns out that Ratatoskr converted a nearby area into several food booths, and the two were treated into an all-expenses-paid promo. Meanwhile, Origami has already sorted out deployment orders for the AST. However, Tohka notices that Shidou isn't enjoying himself, but he reassures her that he's actually having fun. Thus, Tohka heads off with Shidou, with their hands clasped together. They find themselves winning a trip to the Dream Park. As he wonders what this Dream Park is, he asks Tohka to leave when he notices that the park resembles a love hotel. Meanwhile, Origami suits up into her CR unit and prepares to pursue the two. On the other hand, Ratatoskr returns to the Fraxinus and assesses the situation. Kotori then calls the mission a success but discovers that it's raining when there are no rain clouds nearby. Due to the rain, the duo head for cover in a nearby gaming center, where Shidou assures her that they are safe inside. After the rain subsided and the two head to a nearby playground to rest. There, Shidou explains that a date is when a boy and girl go out together and have fun. Based on his definition, Tohka concludes that they had an outstanding date. Meanwhile, the AST closely watches as Tohka manifests herself without spacequake occurrence. However, Tohka realizes her manifestations have been destroying the world, but he assures her that she can stay on Earth for good. Suddenly, Origami fires upon Tohka, but she soon sees Shidou on the ground. Upon summoning her astral dress and her Sandalphon, she unleashes her ultimate weapon, Halvan Helov. As such, AST retreats as Halvan Helov cleanly slices a cliff. Meanwhile, Origami, still frozen in shock after hitting Shidou, sits helplessly in front of Tohka. Ratatoskr finds itself in a similar crisis, as well as a space quake alert has been issued, but evacuations were 6% complete, and if Tohka is not calmed, the city would be annihilated. Soon enough, a burning flame envelops Shidou's wound. Within a flash, traces of the fatal wound disappeared. Origami, helpless in fighting a powerful spirit, succumbs to her imminent fate. However, Tohka's attention is diverted to Shidou in the flesh. Overjoyed to see him alive, she tells him that her final sword is reaching critical thresholds and the energy must be discharged. As such, he tells Tohka they need to kiss, so she kisses instantly. As a result, all of the remnants of her spirit form dissipated. Although embarrassed, Tohka asks if Shidou would take her again for a date. Upon hearing Shidou's affirmative response, a warm smile emerges and Tohka thus transferred to Shidou's school.